Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about the circular flow of income and expenditure. This topic, I often get questions about this topic because the diagram often looks confusing at first glance. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort of build up this diagram from very, very basic intuitive principles, and you'll see that it's really not hard at all. It's full of jargon, which you'll probably have to memorize for your exams, but that's how intro courses are, and we just all have to live with that. So as usual, if the video is useful, please like and subscribe, and if you have suggestions for further videos, just comment down below. So let's start with the most basic thing of all. What are the two basic, most obvious actors in any economy? Well, we have individuals. Okay, so let's just write that down here. We have individuals, and we have firms. Now, individuals are just people, okay? In economics speak, they're referred to as consumers. These are just people like you and I who go out and we buy things. Now, firms are basically any entity. They could be private companies or they could be individual people who produce things. So for that reason, they're referred to as producers. Okay? Now, so we started by saying that individuals or consumers are just people who buy things, right? So let's start by just drawing this arrow here, like this. And let's label this arrow as payments, right? For what? Well, what do individuals buy from firms? They buy goods, right? Like apples and running shoes and computers. And they buy services, like when you pay a law firm for the services of one of their lawyers. So what do individuals give to firms? Well, they give them payments for goods and services. All right? And in return, let's actually get to that part later. Okay, so let's start with what, let's just start with that. Individuals pay firms or producers for goods and services. Now, firms in turn hire individuals, right? So they hire individuals to actually produce the things that those individuals then end up buying, okay? So if we draw this outside arrow down here, okay, we want this to basically represent money that firms are giving to individuals. So we might call this salaries, income, something like that. In economics jargon, we refer to this as payments for factor services. Okay? Now, factor services are nothing but the things that individuals do when they go to work to aid in the production of whatever that firm is producing. Okay, those are factor services. If I'm a good programmer and I go to work for Microsoft and I help produce a software, those are the factor services that I'm offering to Microsoft, and Microsoft pays me a salary for that. All right, so that's sort of one direction of this circle. Okay, you have payments going from individuals to firms because firms are selling things to those individuals and the individuals are paying for them. And then you have payments going from firms to individuals because individuals are helping those firms produce things and the firms are paying them for it. Okay, now can you guess what the other direction of this arrow is? Well, we just said that individuals pay for goods and services. Well, then the arrow going this way then are just goods and services. Oops. So what do we have here on the top? We have firms producing things, and those things go over to the individuals, and in return, the individuals pay for those goods and services. That's really it. It's nothing more complicated than that. Now, of course, down here, you have firms who are paying the individuals for working for them. So they pay for factor services. So what do the individuals offer the firms? Well, they offer them factor services. Now, the last part of this piece is simply to sort of, well, it's to insert the idea of a market in this diagram. Okay, in economics, a market exists wherever anything is exchanged for anything else. Okay, so if I go to the store and I exchange dollars for food, well, we just call that a supermarket, right? It's a market. That's where the word market comes from. Initially, it's just like a physical, actual market where consumers exchange money for things. Okay, but a market could exist really in any kind of exchange. Okay, so on the top part of our diagram here, we have payments going out for goods and services, and in exchange, firms are providing goods and services. So this up here is a market. Okay, this here is a market, and we just call this the goods market. Now, why not the goods and services market? I don't know. Most textbooks just have this as goods market. I don't know. I didn't write them, but I'm here to help you with your classes, so we'll just call it what your textbook probably calls it. Now, over here, factor services are being exchanged, so we simply call this the factor market. Okay? When you see the word market, it just means that something is being exchanged for something else. So at the top part of our diagram, we have goods and services being exchanged for payments. At the bottom part of our diagram, we have factor services being exchanged for payments. And therefore, the circular flow of income expenditure is nothing more or less than a goods market and a factor market. Individuals buying things from firms, firms paying individuals for their services, and individuals paying for the goods and services that the firms produce. That's really it. Again, if you have any questions about this, suggestions for further videos, leave the comments down below, and don't forget to like or subscribe if this was useful.